Have you been wondering how to make this pleated detail on the skirt? Or are you wondering how to make the asymmetric neckline with the tie without joining it? If your answer to these two questions is yes, then stay tuned as I put you through easy step-by-step approach of how I made mine. So I've already drafted my basic bodice, which is the foundation of every dress. So remember that it's an asymmetric dress, both at the neckline and also at the front hem of the dress. As a result, you don't have to draft your basic bodice place on fold. You just have to open it like this, okay? So for this video, I'm making use of a half scale dress form. That is why it's looking small like this. Now this is my back skirt, which you can cut in two or you can cut it on fold. This here is my front skirt, which I drafted open, it's not on fold. This is my back bodice, which I had cut in two. You can also draft it open. Alright, so let's start with the front bodice. From our opening photo, you'll notice that the dress has a shoulder on one side and the other side is an off shoulder, which is tied to the back. Now first determine where you want your off shoulder to be and which side of the bodice you want it to fall. Okay, I used 6 inches away from my top shoulder and I marked it along the neckline. So you redraw the neck towards the 6 inches mark. Okay, so this area is discarded. Now draw a line connecting the tip of your dart to this point and draw another line connecting the second dart to this point. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it open to close my dart, thereby transferring it to the neckline. But I'll first cut off the unwanted area and then I cut open my dart, then cut the line towards my dart. I'll cut two but not through. Okay, oh, I snipped it completely. That's an error. You try to cut it such that it doesn't come off completely. So I'll do the same for the second dart. Having done that, I'll go ahead and attach another pattern paper underneath the bodice in order to draft the tie. Now the length of the tie depends basically on your choice. However, I made mine 27 inches in length, so feel free to make yours shorter or you can make yours longer. It all depends on your choice. So you can see that we're drawing it now from the neck region and also from the armhole region. So remember, I'm using a miniature dress form, so it will appear small on screen. You can choose to reduce the tip of your tie here. You can even make the shape to be rounded. You can make it triangular. You know, let your creativity come into play. So I've decided to reduce mine so that it will be more flattering, at least to me. So now I'll cut it out. Okay, so now that I've cut it out, let's work on the back pattern. So the back pattern should actually be drafted open. I have two patterns, so that is why I kind of joined it like this. But when drafting your pattern, please draft it open, okay? So you first of all ascertain where you want to be your shoulder and where you want to be the off shoulder. Once you have confirmed that, then you label which part should be the right side of the fabric. But for this video I actually made an error, so that part was supposed to be for the wrong side of fabric. I will explain it in more detail later. So I'm marking 6 inches down from the top shoulder, and I'll redraw the neckline from the other side of the shoulder towards this new point that I've marked. So having done that, now I will draw a line. Okay, I'll cut it out first, which I just did. So I'll draw a line from the dart to the neckline, and also from the second dart towards the neckline. So I'll go ahead and close my dart, thereby transferring it to the neckline. Now I'll be adding another pattern sheet underneath this one. And then I will draw a line matching the length that I used for the front tie. So now I'll go ahead and I'll cut it out. So bringing the two modified bodies together, this is the front and the right side of the fabric where we'll place on the fabric. So bringing the two sides together, the two shoulders, you will check to confirm if the shoulder matches perfectly. So my back shoulder is slightly bigger, so I'll simply adjust it, okay, so that it matches perfectly, and I'll trim it off. Alright, now coming to the front skirt, you place your pants curve from the hip on one side towards the end of the skirt on the other side, and then you draw a curved line like so and cut it out. So now cut the exact replica on another sheet like I have done. So it's a wrap dress, it ought to appear like this, okay? Now pay rapt attention here. I will not leave the skirt like this because from our opening photo there is a pleated or a ruched detail on one side of the skirt. As a result, I will draw slash lines across the skirt like so. Then next I'm going to be closing my darts. I'll be folding my darts in order to close it up. The detail is on only one side, so the inner part of the skirt is going to be left untouched apart from folding the darts. So now that I've already cut open the slash lines, and I'm placing it on my fabric, spreading the slash lines to my desired width, and then I'll add my seam allowance round the pattern. Okay, so after you've done that, don't forget to notch each opening in order to guide you when sewing. It's really important. So now you can see it's already beginning to take shape. It's coming out nicely already. Now for the second wrap, I'm adding my seam allowance and I'll cut it out. Okay, getting to the front bodice, I will add my seam allowance as well, 1/2 inch round the pattern and I cut it out. I do the same for the back. Now if you look closely, you'll see that I said before I made an error. The back pattern is supposed to face the front side. You know, you can see that I turned it to the other side so that I won't be having two left or two right. It's really important when it comes to asymmetry for you to label it. So this part is the part that should actually face the right side of the fabric. Okay, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe and turn the notification button. Thank you. Now for the back skirt, you can choose to cut it on fold instead of cutting it round like I did. Like I said, it's your choice. You can choose to just cut it on fold. Okay, having done that, now I'll go ahead and cut my sleeve. I dropped a link in the description box on how to draft the basic sleeve in case you want to know the method I used. So I have cut the lining from the same fabric, and I'll take it to the sewing machine to stitch along like so. Alright, so I have already stitched the neck round down to the armhole, and I have done that of the back as well, stitching the neck round to the back. So I'm going to add I'll match the shoulders together. As you can see from what I'm doing, opening it up, and then we're going to sew 1/2 inch like so. So guys, I have stitched the sleeve. I have also joined the back skirts and stitched round the tie. So now it's left for me to stitch the skirt for the front bodice. So this is the part that we are going to be pleating. Okay, and this here is the second part that goes inside. Remember that it's two parts for the skirt. Okay, so I'm going to place it this way. That's the correct position. Then I'll place the other side. You know, I had already notched the part that will be pleating. If you recall, I had notched that part that will be pleating. Okay, so but before I start, I would measure this side here. I have here 5 3/4. It all depends on your measurement, but mine is here is 5 3/4. So when pleating here, you'd ensure that you get exactly that 5 3/4, that as in the same measurement with the other side. It should match. That's what I mean. So I'm pinning it in place. So I'm going to measure it now, and I got the same thing, 5 3/4. So since I've gotten that, I'll simply arrange both sides together. You can see it. Okay, so I'll stitch both sides in place, and then I'll attach it to the bodice. So guys, here's the finished work on my miniature dress form. You can see the pleated detail. Can you see it? Wow. So you can also see the asymmetry neckline at the back. Okay, so if you've watched this far, thank you so much. I appreciate. Please don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Till my next video, remain good. Bye bye.